started. Good morning, everybody. My name is Ben Singh. I'm the chairman, founder, and CEO of Bullfrog AI. We are a publicly traded company. So I'd like to show you this slide, forward-looking statements. I may make forward-looking statements during the presentation. I'll give you a few seconds to read this. Well, let's get into it. There's a very big problem in the pharmaceutical industry, and Bullfrog is here to help solve that problem. Failure rates are incredibly high. It's a very long, expensive process. And if you see some of the information on this slide, you can see peak sales have declined by 30% over the last decade, and total R&D costs have increased. So there's a really big problem here. Another part of the problem is the patent cliff. So if you look at the data, big pharmaceutical companies over the next, say, 10 years, there are about 25 drugs that generate over $5 billion a year in sales that are going to go off patent. So big pharma's got a big problem. One of those drugs is Keytruda, has $25 billion in sales annually. And you've heard about the GLP-1s for weight loss and drugs like that. So these are all drugs that are going to be off patent. So they have to fill their pipelines. And if you look at the overall drug discovery market, it's projected to grow at an incredible rate over the next 10 years. They have to fill their pipelines with new drugs, discover new drugs. AI is going to play a very important role in this. AI is, as you've been hearing at this conference, is touching all aspects of every industry, every sector. And it's no different in the pharmaceutical drug discovery, drug development world. And this is where Bullfrog AI plays. As you can see, projected to be a 6-fold increase in the AI market for drug discovery. Very large deals are getting done in this space. This is what Bullfrog is going after. And as I walk through the slides, you'll understand how we plan on doing that. But you can see these are massive deals that big pharmaceutical companies are doing with AI companies. And the work that we are doing is setting us up to actually potentially get a deal like this. We're in discussions with multiple pharmaceutical companies, so we're very excited about the future. So what we really focus on in AI, Bullfrog, is using AI to discover drug targets that drive disease. The drive disease piece is really important. There are traditional ways to discover drug targets, and there's other methodologies, technologies, but if you can identify the drug target that drives disease, that's the root cause of the disease, you have a much higher likelihood of success. Most drugs fail because the wrong target is selected. Okay, so we are focusing our AI on the very start of this process so that downstream can have more success. Our AI is proprietary. We're not one of these companies that just uses generative AI and large language models and then applies them to problems. That doesn't work for what we're doing. This is computational biology. So we have what we call an ensemble AI here. We have scalable graph analytics, which we've licensed from the Johns Hopkins University Applied Physics Lab. This was the founding technology of Bullfrog. And the Applied Physics Lab, a lot of people don't know what it is. It's a subsidiary of Johns Hopkins. They do about $2 billion in revenue, sensitive defense work. They have about 6,000 engineers and scientists. So this is a blue chip institution, world class. And the technology we have worldwide exclusive rights to for drug development, won Innovation of the Year at EPL. That's where Bullfrog started. And along the way, we continue to add to that. We've signed improvement licenses. And then we've started innovating on our own. So now we have brought in some generative AI, but we have something called causal AI. A lot of you probably have never heard of it, but with causal AI, this is where you really get to drill down and understand the root cause of disease. And I'm going to show you something along those lines. So typically with AI, you're looking for correlations. With causal AI, you can see the direction and magnitude of those correlations. That's the difference maker. And I also want to add, the causal AI that we have, it might be the best in the world at this point, but the more primitive versions our CSO had developed and validated in the lab and published in Cell and Nature, top journals. So we have a lot of confidence in what we have today. As an investor, there's a few things I think that you should be paying attention to here. I'll start with the bottom. We're a lean company. We're not an overbuilt AI or biotech. There's lots of them out there, okay? And that allows us to be very patient and very thoughtful as we look at this sector and figure out what's the right business model, what is going to make us successful. Because I don't think many companies have figured that out. And this is like the Wild West right now. There's a lot of change, a lot of money getting thrown around. But we're a lean organization. We only burn about $6 million a year, okay? And we're going to continue to stay lean. But even though we're lean, we are a very talented and determined team, and we have, big hit potential, near-term big hit potential. I'll walk through some of that. When it comes to AI, the technology, you want that to be solid. Let's put that to the side. The next piece is data, okay? Is it data that you can trust? Is it valuable data? Is it rich, robust data? What we do is we work in a closed system, so we're not dependent on the information that's out there. A client sends us the data, and we can trust that data. In this case, we have access to the world's largest repository of brains from neuropsychiatric patients, okay? Thousands of entire brains from neuropsychiatric patients. We've had exclusive access to the data. We're the only AI company that's had access to all of the data. So we have data from all 5 regions of the brain. This is really important because in the world of central nervous system, drug discovery and development, there's a fundamental problem. Okay, you can't punch biopsy a brain, right, and then study it without killing the patient. You can do that anywhere else in the body. But that's a bridge that no one's been able to cross. We've crossed it. So we are discovering the biology behind depression, schizophrenia, and bipolar. Historically, it's been about behavior and symptoms. But now you're going to be able to match up the biology. And if you know anybody that's on these drugs, you probably have heard, the stories. It doesn't work very well, okay? We can now take a precision medicine approach to neuropsychiatric drug discovery, and also neurodegenerative. We do also have a lot of pre-Alzheimer's data. These are patients that have the genetics for Alzheimer's, but haven't developed the disease yet prior to dying. The markets we're going after are really big, as you know, and obviously I mentioned the rising cost of drug development. Money for AI is being spent in a few different buckets. We are focused on drug target identification and validation, computational biology, omics data, which is a bigger section of the market. And just to be clear, just so we all understand, what is a drug target? Okay, I think it's important. When you take a medication, that drug targets a gene, a protein, a cell, something in your body, right? It targets that and it's trying to address the problem that you have. So I just want to be very clear, it's as simple as that. Our AI is explainable. And this is a relatively new concept that you'll hear more and more about. But I think in our sector, if you want a valuable tool for scientists and physicians, a decision-making tool, because these are billion-dollar decisions, these could be life or death decisions. It needs to be explainable. So when that, projection is made, recommendation is made coming out of the AI, we can actually show how that happened. What were the relationships and patterns that led to that conclusion? That's important, right? If it's a magic black box, you got some issues there. So using our tool, we can very rapidly analyze data. We're able to generate 6 million models in about 30 minutes at this point, which we think is pretty impressive. So if you're generating that many models, that's a lot of confidence you can have in the information that's coming out of it. So I talked about causal AI, and this is a representation. So on the left, you can see, we call this a network, and you have these driver genes. So these are the genes of the root cause of the disease. And they're connected to all the other genes, and then there's something called response genes. So those driver genes, those are the targets that we're going after. And we have numbers of these genes identified for schizophrenia, bipolar, and major depressive disorder. Our goal now is, and we're going to market with it. We're talking to pharmaceutical companies. We want to get a target discovery deal done with pharma. And we're having a number of conversations with these companies. We're under NDA. What does the deal look like? Typical target discovery and validation deal is 10 to 20 million upfront, 200 million all in if all the milestones are hit. And we have over a dozen targets, for each of these diseases. So there are billions of dollars worth of targets, sitting in our cloud right now, and that's what we're excited about. And again, we're a tiny organization, but real big potential here. And I'd like to show you this video. So you're hearing me talk about getting deals done with pharma, right? Target discovery, these big deals. But what about biotech? I mean, a lot of you people are, I'm sure you're biotech investors. We know what's happening with biotechs. They're struggling. They're trading below cash. They can't hit their milestones. We've been talking to biotechs, trying to get deals done with them, and the reality is they don't have money, or they may have money, they don't have budget for AI tools, but they're going to get smarter about it, because guess what? They're in an incredibly high-risk business, and it makes sense to invest a little bit of money, increase your odds for success, right? So at Bullfrog, we lead with our technology, and then we think about how can we apply it, right, to solve problems and make a difference. So I have a 60-second video here I'd like to play.
Bullfrog AI is now offering Bullfrog Data Networks, a purpose-built data network platform to incorporate multimodal healthcare data into a global network, with the ability to find insights within clusters of relevant data. Data networks can be interrogated for answers to questions, including genomic associations with disease. Data within a network is assigned to a type of node, in this case, distinguishing between patients with or without cancer, genomic attributes, and specific disease indications. The multimodal data is fused into a global network containing nodes, representing each data point, and edges, representing the connections within the data. Clusters of data are identified within the global network, including those that are specific to the cancer indication of interest. Specific genomic attributes are identified by the platform for further investigation, including potentially as drug targets.
So we think Bullfrog Data Networks can be a valuable tool to help level the playing field for biotechs. So they feel like they have a tool that can help them advance their programs, hit their milestones. And we are going to market with Bullfrog Data Networks now. The data market is growing at an astronomical rate, which is great. It's getting less expensive to generate the kinds of data that can be very valuable, especially for drug discovery and development. And as you can see, what these growth rates are, there's over 6,000 biopharma companies around the world, 22,000 drugs in global pipeline. So we think there's opportunity there. This is going to be a subscription type of offering, annual subscription. And the nice thing is we can build networks very quickly. We can build them from public data, and we can combine the client's proprietary data with the public data so that they can make discoveries and insights and so forth. So we're very excited about the potential for this. I think it will be a valuable tool for biotech. I mentioned earlier about this partnership we have. This is with the Lieber Institute for Brain Development. It's a 3-year partnership. We're making these discoveries. Like I said, this is a one-of-a-kind data set. This is a very special situation, okay? Nobody in the world has the type of data they have for neuropsychiatric patients. We're making these discoveries. We have 3 years of commercialization exclusivity, so we kind of have a 3-year moat around our discoveries, which is great. It makes us even that more attractive for partnering, and it gives a partner time to do what they want to do and develop the IP the way they want to develop it. We do have, so on the left is the neuropsychiatric Lieber projects. We do have some other assets that we're trying to advance. We're trying to put AI color around them to make them more attractive for partners. And partnering is a big part of our strategy. We want to partner early and often. We're not a biotech company. We're not going to invest millions of dollars into any asset. We're just not doing that. We don't need to do that, okay? If you look at everything on here, we haven't invested more than a few $100,000 and you have 2 glioblastoma drugs, a colorectal cancer program, and a liver disease program. So we think that's a smarter model. So we'll continue pursuing partnerships and adding AI color where we can. But in the immediate term, on the left-hand side, that's where we're getting big interest. And I think we have an opportunity to do multiple deals. For a 10-person company that's burning $6 million a year, this is a pretty sweet situation that we're in. We're a very experienced team. We're not just a bunch of young tech wizards. We have a lot of people, and not that there's anything wrong with that, probably. But you need experience on the team. You need people that have been there, done that, and can navigate through the challenges and take advantage of the opportunities. And for your young people, if you're going to be an entrepreneur and start a company, you need people that know how to build a company. It's really important. Like, you can have the technical parts figured out, but building a company is a different skill set, and that usually takes time, to get there. And that's it. Thank you. We have time for questions.
What's your website?
What's the website? Bullfrogai.com.
What is the subscription model?
It's going to be an annual subscription. We're trying to pin down pricing right now. Our early ideas are in the 6-figure range, but we're going to have to see. It's probably going to be tiered based on the stage of the company and the resources they have. Kind of like a membership to certain organizations. If you're a tiny organization, we're going to have to price it accordingly. If you're a big pharma, then they're going to pay significantly more for that.
Your current cash position?
Yeah, right now we have enough cash for pretty much all of 2025. We just raised about $3 million about a month ago.
Private or public?
Public.
Do you have an ATM or anything in place currently?
We do not. And my philosophy all along has been, I want my team to execute. We don't need to keep raising 3 years of cash. Raise enough cash to do what we need to do, kind of light a fire. And I'm going to continue doing that. I know a lot of companies would rather raise 3-4 years of cash, and I don't think that's a good way to motivate your team. It's a good way to relax them, but it's probably not going to make you successful.
Excuse me. Any initiatives you may have, I didn't see the far, but any initiatives do you have into the sleep diseases in terms of drugs or treatments?
Which disease?
Sleep.
Sleep?
Yeah.
No, we haven't looked at anything, but You know, even though a lot of what I was talking about was CNS, we are disease agnostic. Our AI does not care what the disease is. It just comes down to the data. If we have rich, robust data, we can make those discoveries.
But nothing yet related to disease.
No, not at this point. And I also want to point out, when I started the company, my goal was to rescue failed drugs, because there's so many. I mean, big pharma still fails 50% of the time in phase 3. There's an ocean of failed drugs out there that can be rescued. But then we followed the market, and the market was pushing us to discovery. All the big deals that were happening were target discovery, early stage deals. So, and the point I'm trying to make is we can operate anywhere along the product life cycle, from discovery all the way through commercialization. We can be helpful in helping design clinical trials, patient stratification. And at this conference, I've had a couple of conversations with people who have investments in biotech who'd like us to talk. Hey, I have a company wants to do a phase 3. Can you help? We can. I mean, what we're doing now, I believe, is the hardest application of AI. It's the most complex. You have millions of variables potentially. You're not going to see millions of variables in any other application in any other sector. And I think as we move down through discovery and development, I believe those are easier applications. But right now it's just we're trying to follow the money.
Has the majority of interest been in the early stages or later stages?
It's been in the early stages. I think what's going to happen with us is we're going to get a deal done, hopefully with a big pharma, and then we're going to use the land and expand strategy. Get in there, and we're going to be a trusted, technology partner, and then we're going to get access to their data lake. We're going to then move down the product life cycle and get involved at different stages, different drugs. That's what I expect to happen. And I know, big pharma is building their own AI teams, armies, little armies. But I'm not hearing very positive feedback from that. I think part of it is they're so big and siloed, so there's just a lot of inefficiencies there. But I see that as opportunity for us. I think we have really good technology. Like I said, it is proprietary. We are doing something different with causal AI. We haven't really heard of other companies using that approach. And what we've done with it is pretty remarkable.
You say expecting what you envision happening is a deal with Big Pharma. You're talking about a partnership, not an outright acquisition, right?
Correct. And just to be clear, with Big Pharma, there's 2 tiers of deals. The first deal we do is probably going to be a proof of concept. You're not going to go straight to $1 billion biobucks deal. Proof of concept deal might be $1 million. It's short term. Might be a six-month deal. And then that usually will have an option to do the big deal if they like what they see. So this gives us an opportunity to validate our business model, validate the company, get revenue. It gives the pharma an opportunity to test drive us. It's basically their due diligence. Okay? The first deal for any business, you guys know this, is always the hardest, right? It's a high hurdle. But once you get over that, the rest of the market says, hey, these guys have been de-risked. The second, third, fourth deals will all happen faster and for bigger dollars. So I think if you do a PO's proof of concept deal first with one company, we might be able to go straight to a big deal with the next company. That's how this works. So anyway, we're moving down the path, like I said, with several of these companies.
With more than 6,000 small and micro-cap companies listed, if you're looking for the next Apple, then Channel Check truly is the orchard. It's an investor community where you can access independent Wall Street research, advanced market data, balanced news, corporate videos, and podcasts. You can even register to attend in-person Meet the Management Series luncheons. and to be part of the preeminent annual Small and Microcap Investor Conference, NobleCon. And here's the best news. Since Channel Check is sponsored by the featured companies, premium membership requires no investment. It's absolutely free. So check it out. Log in today. Find out why Channel Check is North America's leading source of research on the companies that just may change the world.